Hey guys, I'm here in LA at the Facebook headquarters with Harrison and Addison.
Hi.
And we are here to chat with you today about the Fallen movies. I've got some questions for them. They've got some questions from me. Maybe we have some questions from you. Here we go. I already know the answer to this one. You better get it right. Were you fans of the series when you got the script?
I had not read the book yet when I got the script, and I also decided that I didn't want to read the series until I had finished the first movie, because I kind of wanted to go into the first film, which is based on the first book, kind of in the same headspace as Luce, and being able to put the mystery of what her past lives were and all those things. I didn't want to know about them beforehand. So I read the first book while we were shooting, or at the beginning, and then I became a really big fan of the series immediately following when we wrapped the shooting, because I read, I think, all the rest of the books in 2.5 weeks when I got home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did. And I also got really, really emotionally invested in stuff, because I had faces to put to these characters, like you and Jeremy, and I would get really, really upset at Daniel, from Lisa's perspective. I was just talking about that this morning, about that fight that they have in the second book, and how I was weeping when I was reading it, and really, really mad at Jeremy for some reason. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, likewise. I did the opposite. I read all four to figure out the kind of looseness of Cam, which in the first book is pretty, you don't know if he's that good of a guy yet. And I got really caught up in it, especially, when we start going back in time, all these different lives. That's when I really think Cam, for me, started to form, going oh man, it's the chance to play an eternal person. So you can make this massive backstory with your character outside of what you write in your novel as well. Where were they in the 60s and in 1504 and,
Yeah.
And then I got really into the idea of it.
All right, the next question is, did preparing for the characters from a popular book series differ from preparing for other roles?
Yeah, because there's such a wonderful fan base for the Fallen book, so it's definitely a little bit more pressure than I've otherwise experienced, because I wanted to make sure that all the fans were pleased and satisfied with how I portrayed Luce, and how bringing her to life through me was it was a big responsibility. But I felt it more of a responsibility, and also because I was a fan of the books, and I know how magical it is to read a book and fall in love with the story, and in love with the character, and it visualize the whole thing in your head. So I really felt for them, and wanting it to be right. So I did definitely pay attention to how people were responding to my being cast. I remember a lot of people being looking at pictures of me that when I had when I was really tan, and they were like, she's way too tan, and I was like, I know. And I think I didn't go into the sun for 6 months at all, I swear, until after we finished shooting. I was fluorescent beige.
Fluorescent beige.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, I think so. And outside of the responsibility to the fans, to you guys, as Addison mentioned, it's also to an author is really interesting. I hadn't worked on a flick based off a book before, and there's a great there's a great responsibility, and it was kind of nerve-wracking meeting Lauren on the first day and being I hope you like what I'm wearing, and I hope I look like that guy in your head.
Oh yeah, it was so cool to meet you that first day when you came to visit. We were all like, oh my god, she's here.
Yeah, did you see Lauren? Can't see Lauren.
Yeah, it was cool.
Ditto. I felt the same way.
Yeah.
All right, what is the funniest thing that happened on set?
Oh man, it was a lot of laughs.
There was, yeah. I mean, I think that
I reckon it's doing the flying, being strung up. I mean, it was so hard to make yourself land, because you obviously hoist it up there, and there are so many takes, especially in the finale, which is a very intense point of the film, where we were in tears because we just couldn't land. And we're kind of flinging into each other or running in to stop the scene.
It was that scene. That's always what I think about when I think about funny stories, is the scene kind of towards the end when Cam is trying to stop the kiss from happening. It was such a specifically timed moment, and it was really hard to get your landing and our about to kiss at the same time, and it was so funny.
So funny.
It was so funny.
It was like swinging into this
To be
massive,
there
like,
also, like, and also sometimes he
kicking
would just be
Addison.
there, like, way too early, and we'd still have, like, 5 lines of dialogue, and he'd just be like,
really in the
yeah. But also there was a day that Lola and I, there's a scene of us on the stairs, and I'm mad at her, and she's, like, running after me, and that scene took us like 2 hours to shoot because we could not stop laughing at me turning around and giving her a dirty look.
Well, it's really hard when you work with, you know, people that become your friends, I think. 'Cause you're
Yeah.
meant to have these antagonising scenes, but you've become buddies the night before you've had dinner or whatever, and you've got some ongoing gag, and you start knowing each other's little laugh faces, which is
Yeah.
really hard. You see the little, like, twitch of the lip, and you're like, oh man, now I'm gone.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun.
We had a lot of laugh.
And what was the hardest scene to shoot in the movie?
Well, for me, I think the hardest scene to shoot was the very last scene with Jeremy and I, with Daniel and Luce, right before they, take off through the ceiling. Because that was the first scene that Jeremy and I shot together. So it was very early in shooting. I want to say it was like day 2 or 3. And we had done a scene with like all of us like on the grounds or something, but we hadn't done a scene just one-on-one. So it was really, it was by difficult. I remember going into it being like, oh, we haven't shot everything else, so this is going to be tricky, but it ended up being really kind of amazing because we knew where we were ending. So we had, we really went for it. So we knew we had like a lot to live up to get to that place in the end.
That scene became really legendary. When I came to the set a few weeks in, it was the thing that everybody was talking about, that everybody knew that this was going to be an amazing movie because they had already, right at the beginning, managed to capture the essence of this love story. And Addison has these very genuine emotions that
Sobs.
moved everybody. I've heard about it from every single person on the set.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great scene.
It's a great scene, and you're a good crier.
Thank you.
Is it hard for you to do that?
To cry?
Not to
No. No,
Do it now.
I've got lots of material, but the thing is, I was always from the very beginning incredibly emotionally invested in the love story with Luce and Daniel, and their past lives, and they're destined to be together. It was like really up my alley for things that I would get obsessed with. So I really like that thing of like needing to be with someone and all of the things working against you, but then that moment of really knowing, it wasn't hard. It wasn't a hard reach for me.
Do you have a hard scene, Harrison?
Yeah, I mean, I think like every job there is scenes that it can take you a while to get into, but I mean, it was such a pleasant shoot, and I was just having a lot of fun. And Scott was such an amazing, calm captain that I wouldn't say there was any day that was really hard for me. And I mean, I didn't have to go to the emotional territories. I just had to kind of be a bit cool,
Which is a
try
real
and pick
reach
you up.
for you. All right, what can we look forward to most out of the film?
Well, I mean, I think definitely like the characters are all really like well realized and all like with everyone that's in our cast. I think it's like a really like colorful and exciting young cast to watch, and if you're a fan of the books, you're definitely going to be a fan of the movies. And if you're not a fan of the books, I mean, it's just a really exciting and like sexy, fun love story. Like got a nice love triangle. What else? What more do you want? Angels, wings, flying.
All right, I think these guys are.
Oh, this is for you. Your turn.
My turn.
All right, Lauren. What inspired Fallen?
Fallen started from a line in Genesis that talks about the sons of God looking down from heaven and seeing the daughters of man. So these are the angels looking down at mortal women and finding them beautiful. And I was taking a divinity course, and the professor suggested that maybe this moment of attraction is the reason why Lucifer and the fallen angels were kicked out of heaven. So I started thinking about what that lust and an untested love would mean for an angel who was then forced to sacrifice everything, his place in the universe, his identity as an angel and his obligations as an angel. And I just wanted to find the story of a girl who could make that kind of sacrifice worth it.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
You always have really good answers, Lauren.
Yeah. Have you done this before?
So, yeah, once maybe.
Would you like to ask the next
Yeah.
one?
What was it like watching your book turn into a film?
It was really magnificent. I think that for the rest of my life, my visit to the Fallen set and meeting the cast and spending time with them and seeing it transform into this big, beautiful thing is one of the greatest things I'll ever experience. It was so thrilling. I couldn't believe that, I wrote the book sitting on this farm in the middle of nowhere in Northern California, looking out at these, there were turkey vultures in my backyard. And I always think about, writing this book, looking out at those turkey vultures and just nothing for miles and miles. When I pulled up to the Fallen set and saw all of those trailers and, stuff that to them is very familiar, just like the scope of a movie, I couldn't believe all these people had a job for a few months because of this thing I wrote looking at turkey vultures. It seemed shocking to me. But it was so beautiful to get to experience what it was like for them on set and how the movie came together. And Scott Hicks, I would think we all feel, just did such a wonderful job bringing this whole thing together. It was wonderful. I think you guys are going to love it.
Yeah.
Some fun fan questions if you guys want to.
Oh yeah, cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, do you want to look at them too?
Yeah. Who should we answer?
Oh, well, will you ever write a book about Daniel and Luce's past lives when they first met?
Oh, wow. I've gotten so many questions about what else I can write about Luce and Daniel. And, yeah, I'd never say never. I mean, the universe and their world still fascinates me so much. We'll see what happens. And I actually really like that idea. That's a new one. Their first life on Earth would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite dialogue in the movie?
Incorrigible.
Is that
our favorite word, wasn't it?
Yeah, that scene when did I call you that? I say incorrigible, you do.
Yeah, and then, yes, no, it's you.
Yeah, anyway, we thought that was pretty fun. And then I got Harrison a hat that said it at the end.
You did, that's right.
That said incorrigible on it. That's really funny. Oh yeah, I was trying to remember, and then I got Jeremy one that said better not, just because we'd say that to each other every day about anything. Better not do that. What's the best part about being in the Fallen cast? I know.
What?
That we're all such good friends.
Oh.
That was such a softball and you dropped it.
No, really, I think that we all...
And we
all
quickly, yeah.
really, really just fell in love with each other and are all still such good friends that it seems so funny to me now almost that we met doing a movie.
Yeah, it's a really goofy thing.
So that's definitely the luckiest part about it. And also there's a lot of questions about the second movie. I know that we want it, just as much as all of the fans do, but we don't have any information. And
That was a very political answer. Well done.
Yeah. And what was I
Someone's done
going to
this
say?
before.
Ooh, if you could have given your character any advice, what would it be?
Oh. I mean, I'd choose a different tactic in the love triangle, I think. I think he's a bit pushy. He was a little bit incorrigible.
That's right. I think that... I remember you saying before, and I loved what you said when you said that, I think for both Luce and Daniel, that their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness. And I think that I wished if I could have told Luce that, I would have told Luce that. Probably. Just keep it in mind.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah.
What have we got here as well? Did you have much creative input in the film?
Yeah, I was happy that I really felt very included, mostly because when I met Scott, we got on really well, and I felt like he was already reading my mind in most cases, but when we talked about ideas for how things were going to happen, it felt very collaborative, and I know I've heard you guys say the same thing about working with him. He just was very receptive and also tuned in to the right places. So I think he opened a door for me to kind of come in and offer my opinion as much as I wanted to. I loved getting to see your audition tapes. That was such for me, a huge sigh of relief. You know, I just was so anxious about, I wasn't expecting it to go wrong, but I think as soon as I saw you guys and knew how right you were, it just felt like, and it's going to be good. Like, I knew that it was all going to be fine. I could feel the chemistry already. And I loved being on the set. I loved participating in the editing conversations later and the music conversations later. And I think together we've just come up with this really beautiful thing.
Yeah, our audition tape was our audition test with Jeremy and I remember afterwards us leaving and being like, I think I'll see you on set. pretty sure we did all right. Again. A lot of people want me to make sure that you know how cute you are. Yeah, just so you know. And also, one more thing is, I'm forever Team Daniel, always.
Okay.
Team Cam.
Whatever.
Well, thank you guys. This has been so great.
Yeah. And then now we have the trailer for everyone to
Oh yeah, have a look.
Cool. Bye.
See ya.
Lucinda, why do you think you're here? Dr. Siegel says that on medication you're stable. No hallucinations, no nightmares. If you take your prescribed medication, you can leave.
I'd rather be me than pretend to be something I'm not.
Welcome to Sword and Cross Academy.
She has no idea what she's in for. Did you come for your books? Still missing one. It's in special collections.
Hey, wait. You seem really familiar to me. Like I know you from somewhere. Is that possible?
No.
You got it bad, huh?
Everything's connected to Daniel somehow.
What's wrong?
I just can't get past it. There is something between us.
I love you.
There's just something not quite right about that whole group. I have full access to everybody's academic records. I looked at Daniel's file. It's empty. I don't believe the statue was an accident. She needs our protection.
I remember this. My whole life, people have told me that I'm crazy. Let's see if they're right. How is this possible?
We've been in love for thousands of years.
You didn't tell her?
There's this curse. You fall in love, but then all it takes is a kiss, and she's gone.
Kiss him and you will die.
There's a natural order to things. You can't just do as you please.
I remember everything.
The curse always finds a way, no matter what. I chose you. I chose love.